You may notice a boat in the background. I'll be honest with you, it is not mine. However, it does belong on the set of Prison Break, Season 4, and that's exactly where we are, in the warehouse, in their headquarters, where all the madness kind of stirs up. We're going to be talking to some key players, so stay right where you are. Michael Scofield? No. Wentworth Miller, when I talked to him. Would you say this is more of a resurrective year? Because everybody you think dies is kind of coming back to life, and who knows who's dead and who's alive now.
Yeah, that's true. We do keep you guessing that way, don't we?
And it's funny because Michael kind of gets what he wants, but not the way he wants it. Obviously, the only thing, it's so funny, the only thing he wants is love. I mean, all the crap he's been through, all the tattoos and all the break-ins, he wants a girlfriend.
Well, I think it's not just that Sarah's a girlfriend; it's that she's emblematic of some kind of silver lining on what's been a very, very dark cloud. I mean, there's been so much mayhem and bloodshed along the way that Michael needs something to look forward to, and he knows that even if they take on the conspiracy and bring it down, he can't go back to his white-collar existence as a structural engineer. That's never going to happen. That door is closed. That life is no longer available to him, so he has to create something else, something new, and hopefully Sarah will be a very positive part of that.
Let's talk about the company. I think we might have been Season 2. Now it's like kind of a different faction of the company. What's the motivation for Scofield to go after these guys? I mean, other than...
Well, I think we're still dealing with the company. They might have different tentacles, but it's still the same octopus. There's still one Padman / the General, and we reveal him to be the puppet master. And I think then their objective becomes clear. Up until this point, we've had deadly adversaries galore, Gretchen B. and Agent Kellerman, the President of the United States, but all these people were puppets. We need to go after the person who's pulling the strings. That's really how we're going to put an end to this threat, and that means going after the Padman.
How do you try to separate yourself from the Supermans? Like, I can do anything, my character.
Well, it's very hard. I think Michael walks that line between being both more than human and less than human at the same time. I mean, we've seen him not react to certain situations and stressors that would crack the average person, and we've seen him react in a way that seems superhuman. That first episode, Season 1, he gets his toes cut off, and I thought, God, does this mean I have to limp for the next 4 or 5 seasons? Knowing what would be required, knowing the physical demands of this role, knowing that there would be car crashes and sprints and climbing over walls and all that sort of stuff, I didn't think I'd really be able to realistically negotiate Michael with a limp. So I had the character simply choose not to limp, choose not to walk across the prison yard like a wounded gazelle on the Serengeti. And it was unbelievable. And yet within this universe that we've created, which is a little bit fantastic, which is a little bit comic book, I feel like we got away with it. At the same time, I have to remind myself and the audience that he is still human. He is still vulnerable. He is still very capable of loss, because once these characters stop being recognizable human beings, we've lost our audience.
We learned something about, later on in the series, we learned something about Michael's parents. Dad used to be doing pretty much what you guys are doing now.
Right. Dad set this whole thing in motion, which is really interesting and kind of beautifully symbolic, because the dad abandoned the boys. Michael wound up in foster care, wound up being abused by a surrogate father, locked away in the storage room where he developed his kind of, sensory perception, his superhuman abilities, without which he would not be able to one day spring his brother out of prison, who would not have gone to prison had their father not been a part of the company.
We couldn't have written that one better. That was absolutely perfect. I know Wentworth sounds a lot like Michael, but what other kind of characteristics do you guys have?
We're both, I think, very loyal people. We take a lot of pride in being thorough and paying attention to detail. We both have a respect for organization and discipline. And I think Michael, like myself, is also someone who's not afraid to do what he has to do, even if it's going to make him a little unpopular. He's not entirely sympathetic. He's not entirely likable, but he has his own sense of right and wrong, what's fair and what's not, and that remains his guiding principle.
Wentworth Miller, unbelievable. Thanks a lot for the time, man.
Thank you. My pleasure.